as I was a little girl, I was always picked on for being very tall and very athletic looking, quote unquote, like a boy, because most of the boys were about this tall. Yeah. And so I was actually picked on. I was actually picked on for everything that made me stand out, but I actually earned a scholarship to South Carolina State University, where I majored in education and was in school guidance counselor, a master's of education in school guidance, in which I was a part of that until I went on to survival. What got me onto survival? Me being that person that was being picked at for being different. Because I could not be anybody else, because everybody else is already taken. I can only be JoAnna. And I had to own that. And once I started owning being me, it helped me become better at being me. And the only path to greatness within you is being you. You can't be Beyonce. You can't be me. You can only be the best you can be. And so when people ask me, well, how did you get on Survivor? I got on Survivor by, I straight went to the second audition on the tape. I was myself. And I went to the audition and I was myself. And I think that's just the best place we can be. Why is that significant and important? Because right now, in the health, fitness, and nutrition industry, we're being sold on being like somebody else. Having somebody else's ass, having somebody else's eyes, having somebody else's breasts, having someone else's chest. We're being sold on everything except for what's the best thing for us. Now, I'm not dismissing research, science, or technology, but we're obsessed with what it says that we should be. You are your own best research. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel alert? What makes you feel active? What makes you feel good about yourself and investing in those things with your own research on yourself? So I encourage you to look at yourself, look within yourself every day. I can tell you, eat this, eat that, but you already heard that, didn't you? Eat no carbs, eat fat, don't eat fat. Research. Was it done on you? Is it helping you? And that's what you have to ask yourself when you're in this whole commerce-motivated industry of how to lose weight, how to stay in shape, how to be active, what works, what doesn't work, and they're feeding you everything but a self-evaluation process. So when they talk about Survivor, not only did I do that to get on Survivor, but during my stay on Survivor, it wasn't that long. Because they were like, you're just too strong mentally, physically, spiritually, and we gotta get rid of you. So they, of course, moved me off, but not before I made my stand, and not before I made my mark. And I didn't do it by being anybody other than myself. If I were to take a strand of hair from everybody in here, and I were to put it in this powder, science can take this strand of hair and identify that strand of hair as being only to you guys as an individual. No matter what color that hair is, it be all blonde, all black, all brown. Your hair is your hair. Your fingerprint is your fingerprint. You and you. So if we could get back to that, and then enhancing that person physically, emotionally, psychologically, we'll be great. But we'll at least be heading that way. And what happens when we invest in the person we are? What happens when we become great? We see that in other people. We become better mothers, better spouses, better sisters, better aunts, better friends. And then we value other people because now we do it. Value ourselves. So I want to encourage and motivate you that when you are trying to do all this stuff, don't need to stop eating cheese, don't need to stop eating chicken, and what I need to do? First of all, ground yourself. Because when you wake up in the morning, you can wake up and get a cup of coffee. That helps you out, right? The coffee drink is lovely. Just how it kind of helps you get in the day without doing what it is at noon. So you get your coffee, but what happens when somebody comes and they hit you with some foolishness? How many people hit with some foolishness already at 1 o'clock? Anybody? It's my soup. Oh, no. How many people hit with some foolishness yesterday? Monday.
I'm gonna just leave it right.
How many people anticipate? How many people anticipate before Friday is gonna be some foolishness? But if you already know, right? Then you should safeguard what? Your mind. Right? You should like, it doesn't matter what y'all do. It doesn't matter what y'all say. I'm gonna give my very best 8 hours while I'm here. I'm gonna be the very best worker that I can be. I'm gonna invest in me, and when I leave here, it's done. When this day is over, it's the 10th, right? September. It will never come back again. And you can't worry about it. It's over. So is the past. And whatever we didn't do is gone. All we can do is work forward, right? How many people you know they stuck somewhere 10 years ago? Seriously. I was afraid. I know. We're about to do that. We're about to do that. So after we do all that and seeing other people then guess what we become? Happy! Right? How many people know some miserable people?
Mine went on. It extended. I thought it was sitting still.
Why is that?
He's so weird.
Haters. You know there's haters out there. That's all.
But isn't it unnecessary?
It's unnecessary.
You have your health, you have your strength, you have a job, some people are sick, you really never know how valuable you are and what you really have until you visit a sickness ward, or you go to a dialysis clinic where people spend 4 to 6 hours 3 times a week on dialysis. And you don't have to. You start really appreciating your life when you go to the funeral home and you realize that person's time is over and can't get it back. And so I think I could bring a lot of statistics, but I think you guys kind of are pretty savvy. You probably read a lot of research and you've done all these things. And I think we're doing a lot of without. A lot of things outside of ourselves. A lot of things that, if I can do this and I can do that, I can get my hair like this, I can get my hair. And really, if we could look back within, study and settle ourselves, we'll be empowered, inspired, and motivated, right? Because we know what to do, but sometimes we just don't do it. Why? How do we have all this information, all this technology, all this access, and yet we still fail to achieve what our original goal was? iPhones, iPads, we got all the information. We don't have the motivation, the consistency, and the inspiration. We can find it. We can find it.
And we are in our own way.
Aren't we? But you know, it doesn't have to be that way. And what I'm saying about those miserable people, we talked about the miserable people. Some are employees, some of them are people in our houses, in our family, whatever. You can be contagious with optimism, but you have to have enough to pass it on. That's why I said it has to start with you. You can really survive and thrive in whatever environment you're in with your life, as long as you don't let the darkness take it out. If I were to turn off the lights in here, I don't know how this switch works. Just see that one light. See how light it is? Have you guys been in a dark room with somebody lit a match?
Girl, did you mean to do that? Because I did not set that up.
You did.
That is deep.
You did.
That's weird. Like I did that.
That's an emergency light.
It's
Don't stay on.
So just like say, oh, you cut the light off and no, it stayed on. You were supposed to went out.
See? I didn't do that. We didn't plan that.
Well, we did, yeah, but I do want you to be inspired to let your light shine.
That's a little emotional.
I'll remind you that Tiffany, right? Wow.
Yeah, so, and you gotta be able to do that, so you gotta take care of yourself. And you gotta take care of yourself physically, because we wanna be happy. Let the music roll, Trey, everybody stand up for me.